So the table legs, I used Douglas fir, and the aprons that connect the legs is eastern white pine. And then the shelf aprons are hemlock. So I have three different kinds of softwoods here. The pine is the easiest to work with, but it does have the finishing problem with the sap bleed through. Even these streaks here can come through, so I have to be really careful about selecting the parts. I don't have any, really big sappy knots exposed in an area that will be visible. And also, if it has a light colored finish, white especially is difficult. And if this piece was going to be painted white, I probably wouldn't use any pine at all, but this is going to have a neutral gray color, so it'll be okay. So I'm using three different kinds of softwoods, and then the panels on the shelves are poplar plywood. So the first step here is to spot prime all of these problem areas with a shellac-based primer. The hemlock knots are not nearly as bad in terms of bleed through as the other types of wood, the pine, and the fir will bleed through a little bit, but it's not nearly as bad as pine. Pine is the worst, and sometimes these little streaks can all come through, and that can really be distracting. So here are some products that I'm going to be working with. I start out with a spot priming on all of the knots with this product. This is a shellac-based primer, which is the best product to use for preventing bleed through. But it's a difficult product to work with, and I rarely use it to cover anything in its entirety. It's just used for spot primer. And it cleans up with denatured alcohol. And I just use a little tiny brush to put it on. And then after that dries, I go with a water-based primer as a base coat. And I also have this tinted at the hardware store. I have both the shellac-based primer and the water-based primers tinted to be a more neutral color. And that just helps kind of blend it in and makes the subsequent top coats cover better with less streaks. But sometimes hardware stores won't tint this product. They'll just refuse to do it because they have to take some out and dispose of it. So you have to get kind of like special permission. And this is the color of the top coat paint. It's a neutral gray color. Should be easy to work with. So I start off with the spot primer, do one coat of water-based primer, and then I sand that, and then I go with 2 coats of the interior paint color. And then after that I'll do a coat of varnish, which will be a satin polyurethane. And for applying the paint, except for the varnish, I apply everything with a roller first, and this helps get better coverage, and it gets in all the cracks and the edges more effectively. And then I just go over it with a brush, painting it with the grain of the wood, and that's how I apply the paint. The varnish, sometimes I'll roll that on. Usually I just apply it with a brush, but I can see for this piece, because it has so many edges and inside corners, I might go with the roller on the varnish as well. But it does end up costing me a roller cover because you can't clean these when you have oil-based product in them. So that's my setup here. Now for a work surface, I have 3 different heights. This is my standard workbench height, and I'll be using that to paint the drawer and the drawer front. The knob I'm going to paint separately. This is going to be just a natural color to blend in with the countertop. But I always paint the drawer fronts separate to the drawer body, and the knobs are separate as well, and that just helps apply the product with less drips. And I have this work surface as well as this cart, which will give me 2 different levels, and that'll help with just getting better access inside here. It's going to be a pain in the neck to paint all these underneath the surfaces, so I'm going to have to flip this upside down and kind of position it in a variety of ways. So having 2 different heights here that I can kind of transfer it easily is helpful. Okay, I've got my base all completed. I'm ready to put on the drawer slides and install the drawer front. I've got my butcher block top ready to put on. I've got 2 coats of mineral oil on it and it's nice and dry. And when I was putting on the oil, I put it outside where it got full sun for about 4 or 5 hours. And that darkened it up quite a bit, and all these contrasting colors seem to pop out. I wasn't really expecting that. It almost looks spalted. Joe. So those are my finishing rags. Can't go in there.